In today's episode, I'm going to give you the single most profound concept that transformed my life. You see, understanding this concept and adopting it was catalytic in the journey of turning my life around from being 100 grand in debt, 60 pounds overweight in an unhappy marriage, to having financial peace in the best shape of my life and completely restoring our relationship. And I cannot wait to teach it to you today. Welcome to the Dad Nation podcast, the place where high-performing men are empowered to reclaim their home, their health, and their happiness while enhancing their career success. You see, in a world full of noise, burnout, and mediocrity, we believe what's missing is courageous and compassionate leadership in the home, because when the dad gets better, the whole family wins. You see, this isn't just a podcast. It's a movement of men who refuse to settle for less in our families, our focus, and our future. We are curse breakers and we are legacy makers. And I'm your host, Mitchell Osmond, and I'm honored that you have chosen to invest your most valuable asset, which is your time with me today. Now let's get into it. Well, my friend, welcome back to the Dad Nation podcast, where we help high-performing men reclaim their home, their health, and their happiness. Man, I'm looking forward to this conversation. It's going to be good. I know I made a big promise in the beginning, but we're going to get into it. But before we do, I have a quick announcement for you. I want to put this on your radar. I'm going to do something I've never done before, okay? So this week, I found out that the Dad Nation podcast actually jumped from a top 10% globally rated podcast to a top 5% globally rated podcast. Now, I mean, that's exciting. And that's 100% because of you. You listeners, how you've rated, how you've shared this, how you've told your friends. And I know that we have listeners literally all around the world. Now, I want to do something else because y'all know me. I'm a little ambitious. So the next stop is 1%. All right. Now, not just because I want to have a big podcast, but because I truly, genuinely believe at the core of my being that every man needs to hear this message, that we are in a time and age today where men more than ever need to step up and be courageous and compassionate and lead their homes. And so we need to get this out to more people. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. This is crazy. I'm going to do a huge giveaway. Okay, so I'm going to be giving out one mastermind session with me and a completely custom tailored nutrition plan for you and your family. All you're going to have to do is send me a list of your family's top 5 meals. I'm going to build a plan to get you to your fitness goals based on the food you're already eating. Now, this is at least $1,000 of offering here, okay? It's worth actually more than that. But I'm going to give it to someone for free. Here's all you need to do. I want you to give the show a rating and a review, and then screenshot it, okay? And then post it on Instagram, tag me on it, okay? And then I'm going to put your name in a draw. That's it, all right? Whether it's on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, rate it, review it, screenshot it, post it on Instagram, tag me at DadNationCo. I'm going to put your name in the draw. Whoever's name gets drawn is going to get at least $1,000 worth of coaching services in a mastermind with me to strategize to set you up for success this year in your home, in your health, and your happiness. How does that sound? I think it's a pretty good deal. Okay. And hey, if you want to do it right now, go ahead. Push pause, jump over, do the thing, screenshot it, whatever. I'm not going to be offended. I'm still going to be here when you get back. All right. I ain't going anywhere. It's just me and you, bro. Okay. So let's jump into it because this is a concept that I think is going to change your life if you apply it. But you know what? I do need to say this. Today's episode is a challenge. It's a gut check. Okay. It's a recalibration. And this is going to be a reminder that while you're working hard to succeed, that there's a hidden cost behind your daily choices. And someone is going to pay that cost. Okay. We're talking about a man you may not think about very often. And that man is your future self. Not some vague version of you 20 years from now. I mean the man that you're going to be next year, next month, even next week. He's real, and he's watching, and he's collecting every cost and compounding every investment. Okay? So, to kick us off, I want to tell you I'm going to tell you two stories, but I'm going to tell you one story now and another story a little bit later. The first story is the tale of the Pied Piper. Have you ever heard of it? If not, you're going to hear it now. You may remember this. It was a bit of a legend of the Pied Piper of Hamelin. Okay, it's a haunting tale that's been passed down since the Middle Ages, but it's more relevant today than ever before. And here's how it goes. In the town of Hamelin, back then, was infested with rats. Okay, disease, chaos, filth everywhere. Desperate, the town leaders offered a large sum of money to anyone who could come and rid them of this plague of rats. Now, legend has it that there was a mysterious man in colorful clothing, the Pied Piper. He stepped forward and he claimed that he could drive out the rats with the sound of his flute. So they all agreed. And true to his word, he simply played a melody so powerful that the rats all followed him, dancing and squeaking, until he led them into a river where they drowned. Okay? But when the piper returned for his payment, the town refused to pay. You see, they had what they wanted. The problem was solved. And so, like many of us, they chose the short-term benefit over the long-term integrity. So in response, the piper returned, this time playing a different tune. And this time, it wasn't rats who followed him. It was the children of the people in the town. And legend says that he led all these children into a mountain, and they were never seen again. Now, that's just a cautionary fairy tale, but this is how most of us live, right? We want relief now, but we don't necessarily want to pay the price. You see, we make choices in the moment without considering the consequence. We neglect to honor the deal we've made with ourselves or our families or our future, but then we wonder why life starts falling apart. So what's the lesson? The piper will be paid, right? Whether it's now or later, the invoice always comes due. And in your life, the piper is your future self. One of my favorite quotes of all time is by a brilliant man named Jim Rohn. And he famously said this. If you've listened to the Dad Nation podcast for any amount of time, you would have heard me quote this before. He says, "We all must suffer from one of two pains, either the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The difference is discipline weighs ounces, while regret weighs tons." I'll say that last line again. The difference is discipline weighs ounces, while regret weighs tons. Here's the reality. Your future self is the piper, okay? And he's collecting daily. Psychologist Dr. Hal Hershfield has spent over 15 years studying the future self concept, and his findings are clear. He says this: the more connected you feel to your future self, the more responsible and wise your present day decisions become. But I want you to hear me say this today. Your future self is not just you with more wrinkles. He is someone with different values, with different pressures, and different needs. Now, why is this so important? Because listen, that version of you, that future version of you, he might have a heart condition if you neglect your health today. All right, that future version of you, he might be buried in debt if you keep spending recklessly. He might be sitting around the Christmas tree alone next year if you don't begin to nurture and foster a healthy marriage. Now, on the flip side, he might be respected, free, and joyful if you do the hard things now. He could be confident, in incredible shape, if you commit to taking your health seriously today. He might have a beautiful, passionate, bulletproof marriage if you're willing to put in the work today. He might achieve complete financial peace and freedom if you learn to manage your finances well today. Because here's the thing, everything you do today is either a cost to your future self or an investment. That is the key. And here's the kicker. It compounds, just like interest in a bank account. And we know that compounding works both in the good and in the bad, in the plus and in the negative, right? Small costs become big consequences. Where do we see this all the time? Well, I can think of a situation. I've known many people that have had affairs and blown up their marriages and caused so much pain in their families. But I'll tell you what, none of those guys just randomly woke up one day and said, I think I'm going to sleep around on my wife tonight. No, that's not how it happened. All right. It was a small cost. They paid a small decision. It was one glance that turned into a gaze that then turned into lust. It was one text message. And then it was one lunch date at the office that led to a dinner date alone, that led to one evening alone, that led to one moment that blew up their family. You see, small choices left unchecked can cause big consequences. Now, on the flip side, small investments become massive growth, right? One commitment to walk 10,000 steps a day could be the thing that saves you from a heart attack that takes your life prematurely. One decision to hire a coach or be a part of a community might be the thing that turns your entire personal and professional life around forever. I love this quote from Mark Batterson. He says, "You are always only one decision away from a totally different life." And if you don't believe that, you need to think about your beliefs, because that is so true. So I want you to ask yourself honestly, are you investing in the man you want to be, or are you robbing him blind? And now I'm going to tell you the second story. I had a moment where I came face to face with the future version of myself. And if you've consumed any of my content or been coached by me, you would have heard this story. But my turning point was at a funeral when my life was falling apart. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the episode, carrying a lot of heaviness. Life was not in a good place. And I was asked to sing at the funeral of this very wealthy, influential man. He was a philanthropist. There was a couple thousand people at his funeral. And I was preparing to sing the last song. And as I was putting my guitar on, I overheard the minister ask the congregation, he said, "Are you living a life worthy of imitation?" He said, "If you were to die today, would you be proud of the legacy that you left?" And in that moment, I believe it was God himself that spoke to me and put my future right in front of me. And I thought in that moment, man, if this were my funeral today, nobody would want my physical body, my health. Nobody would want my bank account. Nobody would want my marriage. Nobody would want to imitate the life that I've left. And I got a vivid picture of what my future self would look like: divorced, overweight, broke, depressed. So I decided to rewrite my story. I decided to take the pen back and begin writing chapters that my future self would thank me for. And so I went on a journey of transforming my life from the inside out, every aspect of my life. And this is how this entire movement began. Now, if you'll allow me, I'm going to get a little bit meta here, okay? But I want to take a moment and thank the 2016 version of me, the 30-year-old version of me, because I am that future self speaking to him, right? Those early mornings at 5 a.m. when I was layering up to run in minus 20 degrees Celsius. The saying no to the fancy vacation so that we could pay off our debt. The countless early mornings and the late nights praying about and writing out my vision for what I wanted in this life. The amount of times I had to humble myself and ask others in my life where I could grow and how I could improve. It was painful. It required vulnerability. It required honesty. It required facing fears. It required facing my anxieties. It required facing my victim mindset that told me that this was all I was going to get, that this was my lot in life. So I'm so thankful, 2016 Mitch, that you picked yourself up, that you faced your fears, that you were willing to get uncomfortable, and that you decided to experience the pain of discipline so that today I would not be dealing with the pain of regret. And that's my story. And when I got real about that, that's when everything changed for me. When I started investing into myself versus robbing my future self. Does that make sense? And here's another thing that I think so many men get wrong. They think they have to sacrifice for what they love. You're not sacrificing, you're investing, okay? I want to reframe this for you. Most people think of discipline as a sacrifice, right? Less money, less comfort, less pleasure. But what if it's not a sacrifice at all? What if it truly is an investment? Because here's the thing. You don't sacrifice time at night to talk to your wife. You invest in your marriage. You don't sacrifice fast food for the gym. You invest in your strength and your health. You don't sacrifice spending now to build savings. You invest in your financial freedom. And this is the paradox of discipline. People assume that discipline is a ball and chain, right? But the truth is discipline equals freedom. Y'all, I'm getting a little passionate. I'm starting to preach because this has been my life. And here's the thing. The more you invest, the more connected you become. And the more connected you become, the more vivid and motivating your vision becomes. And that's what Dr. Hershfield calls vividness, okay? It's the ability to imagine your future self in rich detail. And here's what's wild. The clearer your future is, the better your present becomes. I love this quote from Dan Sullivan, and he's written some incredible books, like 10X is Easier Than 2X with Dr. Benjamin Hardy, and he wrote Who Not How, and so many others. But he says this, the only way to make your present better is by making your future bigger, okay? And that the reality here is that when your future is vague, when you don't have a clear picture, you drift, you lose focus, you lose your mission, your drive. But when it's detailed, when it's personal and powerful, you're invigorated, right? And you're moved to action. And you don't have to force discipline. You want it because you're committed to who you are becoming. You see, people ask me all the time, Mitch, how are you so disciplined? And you know what? I'd like to say that it's some sort of divine gift, but it's not. The truth is it's not, right? I just have a very clear picture of who I want to be and what I want my life to look like. And that propels me into the future, right? They might say, I could never be as disciplined as you. People say that sometimes. Well, these people are just lacking clarity and vision for their life. They haven't yet connected with and invested into their future self, because if they did, it would be clear and it would be vivid, and they would start making decisions for their future self, right? Abraham Lincoln famously, ever heard of him? He was kind of a big deal. He famously said, discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. Hey, brother, if you are listening to this show, you've most likely built a successful career. You handle pressure, you lead teams, and you get results. But when was the last time you really connected with your wife beyond the calendar, the kids, and the to-do list? Well, if that sounds like you, I have a free gift for you today called the Connection Code, which are 50 questions to break the silence, spark the fun, and bring the fire back. These questions are going to help you learn what she truly desires from you, to break out of the routine and to rediscover fun, and to spark deeper passion and connection without forcing awkward conversations. Listen, most men assume their wives feel loved, but the best husbands ask great questions and keep the connection alive. So if your date nights feel more like board meetings, and if you've gone from soulmates to roommates, and I want you to download this connection code for free and start the kind of conversations that bring you closer tonight. You can grab your copy at dadnationcode.com/code or hit the link in the show notes below. All right, let's get back into it. So, I just threw a lot at you, okay? And this is all very conceptual, very high level. But I'm going to give you 3 practical steps to build what we call vividness, or to build this relationship with your future self, to get to know your future self, right? Step number 1, write a letter to your future self. Now, I could talk about this all day, case studies and stories of people who've done this, and it's powerful. I'm actually in the process right now of writing 3 letters to myself. One year from now, 3 years from now, and 5 years from now, where I'm going to write it today, and then I'm going to open it up 3 years from now. I'm going to open it up 5 years from now. And this is called externalizing, right? I ask my clients often, if the 5-year from now version of you could reach back into time, what would he tell you to do, right? Would he tell you to take that chance? Would he tell you to start that exercise plan? Would he tell you to launch that business? Would he tell you to have that conversation that you've been avoiding? So think about your life where it is, and think about where you want it to be, and envision yourself 5 years from now and have him write a letter to yourself today and have him tell you what to do. Otherwise, you're going to get caught up in your own fears and your own stress and your own worries and your own anxiety about what's going to happen, what's not going to happen, and you're not going to do anything. It's called a paralysis by analysis. And to give you a little bit more direction, you can ask yourself what your life looks like with these 5 core areas. Your relationships. What does your marriage look like? What does your relationship with your kids look like? Your health. What is that like? Are you overweight, or are you in great shape? Do you have a 6-pack? Are you chunky? What is it? Your faith. What's your relationship with God like? Your finances. How much money are you making? What does your savings account look like? Your career. What are you doing for a living? Right? Did you launch the business? Are you an entrepreneur, or are you working for a company? Are you living out your dream? What does that look like? Paint the picture of what it looks like, okay? And you might use this kind of framework. You're going to write to yourself, right? So for me, it would be, Mitchell, today I am blank. You could fill in. Today I am so thankful and I'm grateful that you did blank, right? That you started exercising, that you took that chance in business, that you had that conversation in your relationship, that you fill in the blank, because now I can fill in the blank, right? So Mitchell, today I am blank. I'm so grateful that you did blank because now I can blank, right? And it's a letter of gratitude that he's painting this picture of what his life looks like, and he's thanking you for making those decisions today, right? So that's what you can do on the macro, right? Something long-term. Write a letter to yourself from 5 years from now. The second practical thing you can do, and this is like a daily practice, is you can ask yourself every single day, is this a cost or an investment? That snack, that scroll, that skipped workout, is that a cost or is that an investment? That prayer, that conversation that you didn't want to have but you had anyways, that time you played on the floor with your kids, that time you backed yourself and went all in to level up for yourself and your family, was that a cost or is that an investment? Ask yourself, when you're making decisions during the day, is this robbing my future self or is this investing in him? It sounds crazy, but I'll ask myself that often. When it's 5 o'clock and the alarm goes off and I don't want to get up and start writing content or start preparing a podcast or start preparing some marketing plan or go work out or whatever the thing is, everything in me says, I want to stay in bed. But then I ask myself, are you robbing yourself in the future or are you investing in yourself right now by staying in bed? And I would ask myself 5 years from now, what is this, 2025, 2030? 2030 version of Mitch, hey, what do you want me to do? You want me to get up or you want me to stay in bed? 100% of the time, he's going to say, get your A up. All right? All right, that's the second thing you can do. Ask these questions throughout the day. Third thing is I want you to picture what he's building. Hey, brother, does this sound familiar to you? Maybe you're powerful at work, you're respected, you're competent, you're driven, but when you walk through the door at home, you feel like a stranger. Maybe your marriage feels distant. Maybe your temper's shorter, your body's softer, and you've been stuck in this loop where you're showing up for everyone except for the people that matter the most. I know that pain because I lived it. And that's why I created the Dad Nation Coalition, which is a 1-year high-level coaching community for career-driven men who are done settling for success in only one area of their life. Inside the coalition, we don't just talk about growth, we build it. You will create a life that your wife wants to be a part of. You'll become a father your kids look up to. You'll wake up proud of the man staring back at you in the mirror. And here's the best part, you won't do it alone. You'll be surrounded by a brotherhood of men who will challenge your excuses, sharpen your edge, and celebrate your wins like family. In the DNC, you're going to get 12 months of bi-weekly coaching calls with me and the other members of the coalition. You're going to get a customized fitness and nutrition plan designed for your specific goals, and exclusive access to my flagship trilogy called The High Performance Husband. You're going to get a one-to-one mastermind with me where we build your blueprint for success in every area. And lastly, an invitation to our exclusive annual mastermind and retreat. So if you're ready to rebuild your body, reignite your marriage, and rise up as a high-performance man of purpose, then apply today. Go to dadnationco.com/DNC or hit the link in the show notes below. All right, now let's get back into it. All right, the third thing I want you to do is actually picture what he's building and take action on it. You ever hear of a vision board? It doesn't necessarily have to be a vision board. It could be just a paragraph. It could be something, but I want you to see the house you're living in, see your marriage, your position of leadership, whatever. Make it vivid. I want you to either write it out like a movie scene, be freakishly specific. It's that scene that, in the movies where they're riding off into the sunset when everything is great. Answer those questions like in your 5-year letter. Like, where are your kids going to school? What are you doing with your free time 5 years from now? What are your biggest fears 5 years from now? What are you celebrating? And so you either write that out like in a paragraph, you print it out and you read it maybe once every month. Okay, just to keep it in alignment. Or maybe you want to create a vision board and take all these different things. Take a house, take the car, take the job, take the whatever it is, the things that you want to be in your life in 5 years from now, and actually print them out and make a board and stick it on your wall so it stays in front of you, all right? So that you can continue making investments for that future vision. You see, the more detailed your future, the more direct your path becomes. So, in summary, you ready? 3 big takeaways for you, okay? Number 1, your future self is not a stranger. He's your legacy. All right, so get to know him well because he is you. He's just a future version of you. So learn to listen to him. Take him seriously because you will become him. So make decisions that he will thank you for, not resent you for, okay? Number 2, everything you do is either a cost or an investment. Jordan Peterson says this in his book, 12 Rules for Life. It's impossible to be in stasis. You cannot be in complete balance. You are either growing, you're moving forward, or you're dying, you're moving backward. Your marriage is either getting better or it's dying. Your fitness, you're either building muscle, losing fat, or you're gaining fat, losing muscle. Your relationships are either getting better or they're deteriorating. It is impossible for us to just be at like a plateau and stay there. It's a common belief to think that we do and we can, but we can't. And so even if you just took that from today, every time you come home, sidebar, every time you come home, ask yourself, what decisions can I make right now that are going to grow my marriage when I walk through that door? What decisions can I make to grow my relationship with my kids when I walk in through the door? What decisions can I make today that are going to grow this business versus wasting time on things that aren't, creating revenue? That's a key question. So everything is a cost or an investment. Don't lie to yourself and think it's anything other than that. Okay. And the third big takeaway is you don't sacrifice for what you love. You invest in what you love. And when you love your future, you want to invest. Key distinction. And if you can move from this mentality of sacrifice to investment, my man, it's going to be a lot easier to be disciplined. It's going to be a lot easier to make those decisions when you think of them as an investment versus an expense or a cost or a sacrifice. Okay? So here's your challenge for the week. Write the letter. Write the letter, right? Future you, 5 years out. No one else has to read it. I don't care if anyone else reads it. Or just do it for you, right? Number 2, live one day as an investor. Live one day as an investor and see how you feel. No borrowing, no binging, just investing in your future self, because at the end of the day, the piper will be paid. And you can pay now, or he will come knocking later, and he's going to collect with interest. So build a life that pays you back with peace, with freedom, and with fulfillment. Build a future that you'll want to live in. Does that make sense? All right, listen, this has been big. And I know I've been getting real passionate, so I don't want you to think that I'm like talking down at you or like preaching at you. I'm with you in this. All right. I wasted years and years of my life not living up to my full potential, and I am done with that. Okay. I've learned so many lessons the hard way, and I'm not turning it down for anybody. Okay. I'm not turning it down. I'm not apologizing for my goals, because you know what? The future version of me deserves my best energy, and so does yours. So does yours. Okay. Listen, thank you so much for tuning into the show today. If this episode has sparked something in you, text it to a brother who needs it. And if you're ready to start investing into the man that you know you were made to be, and you're tired, you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, you're tired of not living up to your full potential, then check out the website, dadnationco.com. Book a free strategy call with me, and we can get you hooked up, whether it's one-to-one coaching or get you plugged into a community program. Whatever the case is, I'm happy to serve you in the most powerful way I know how. Because listen, when the dad gets better, the whole family wins. I am in your corner. I'm for you. All right. Can't wait to see you next week back here, same time at the Dad Nation Podcast. Have a great week, friend. Thank you for tuning into the Dad Nation Podcast today. Listen, if today's conversation challenged you, if it encouraged you or helped you level up in any area of your life, would you do me a favor? Take 60 seconds to rate and review the show on whatever platform you're listening on. This helps us reach more men who need to hear this message. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the Dad Nation YouTube channel, where you're going to find full episodes, clips, and exclusive content designed to help you win at home just like you do at work. All right, remember, your family does not need perfection. They need your presence. Your leadership matters. So keep showing up, keep leveling up, and never forget, when the dad gets better, the whole family wins. We'll see you next time.